everybody. This is Duran with the Florida Investor Deals. I'm here with Mike.
Hey everybody.
How's it going, everybody? How you doing, Mike?
Great. How about you?
Good. This week been so busy. We've been sending offers like crazy and talking to sellers. So today I wanted to talk to you about how you can get a property under contract in the next 30 days. And we got some questions, but also if you have questions and you want to ask us live, you can comment below or you can call us to this phone number 904-770-3195. We can answer the phone live and help you close deals. So Mike, how was your week how was your week this week talking to sellers?
It was a great week because we did a lot of trial and error for testing different lists. I've noticed that you need to really test a bunch of different lists, and the first list that you try is probably not going to work, but the 5th or the 10th might. So you have to keep testing all the time in order to find that list that really resonates, and then find more of those same types of lists, because that will get you your most motivated sellers.
Right, exactly. And we found that the best way to reach out to sellers today is actually texting them, and keep texting the same people and texting in different hours, right? So we texted them in the morning and nobody responded. Then we texted them after 5 and a bunch of people responded, and they actually started to respond later in the day. Right. So we saw that that's working. But the 5 things that I have for you to start to get a property on the contract. So first thing, you got to find buyers, right? You got to know who's the ones that's going to buy a property from you. And it's easy to find buyers. You can just go into property records and see who bought a property in the area that you're looking for. And also you can go to Zillow and see sold, and see who are the people that are doing flips in the area. Talk to realtors, right? We call realtors and ask them if they have cash buyers and people are looking to flip. And they usually have people that are investors that are buying and they're flipping.
Right. I actually have experience with the realtor thing that you're talking about. A lot of realtors respond to the text messages when you text them. And like they said, they have not just one buyer, but they might have multiple buyers. And texting them might be a big advantage.
Right. So, I mean, those realtors can really help you, and they're looking to make money, right? Everybody's looking to make money, to sell a property, move properties, and you can make connections. So that's good. The second thing is that you need a seller, right? You need a seller and you need somebody to put a contract. So a good way to find sellers today, everybody's looking to sell a property. For sell by owners, there's so many online for sell by owners. And I would just call them and offer them prices and start making offers. The way to get a property on the contract in the next 30 days and actually close is to make at least 5 offers every day. Right. Exactly. So either you use the market, whatever property is on the market, or you use for sell by owners, or you have old leads and old lists. I would do those and send 5 offers every day.
Right. And there's also a lot of things that you can do. You should probably try and be creative with your lead generation strategy. There's a lot of different things that might not be super public. You might not even be able to find it in a YouTube video, but it actually works a lot and nobody's doing it. So you should probably just be creative and look for those things.
Yeah, but you also have to find stuff that happen fast, not like sending letters or putting bandit signs or knocking on doors, doing driving for dollars. Those are so slow. I mean, you can't do those every day, and it takes so much time to get a property on the contract. So the best way is actually research. Do your research, send text, and call people every day and send offers.
Right.
So the next thing that I want to tell you is the third thing is finding a texting software, something that you can send text on the bulk, not one by one, or using your cell phone. Don't use your cell phone, because eventually your cell phone is going to be marked as scam, and you're going to call people and they're going to show scam likely for your cell phone. So don't do that. See people using their own cell phone. Don't do that. Get a second phone number or get a texting software. They're very cheap. I mean, I see Rent Control and all kind of stuff. They're so expensive. There are much better options, much cheaper. So don't use the expensive ones, especially if you're just starting out and you don't have a high budget.
Yeah.
And the next thing that you gotta have is a script. How are you gonna talk to sellers if you don't know what you're gonna tell them? So you gotta have a good script, and you gotta know how to negotiate and how to talk to sellers, how to make sure you're gonna relate to them, you're gonna hear them, they're gonna be open to give you a better price.
Right, and I noticed that the best thing to do might be to start off with a script, just like anybody's script. If somebody has a script, if somebody that you follow, probably just use their script for a while, and then all of a sudden, after you do it for a while, you'll start to make up your own kind of style, and you won't need the script anymore. And you'll notice a lot of things that work that aren't on the script that are just purely yours.
But a very, very important thing is to know how to get into the pain points and how to talk to people and how to get why they're looking to sell. What's the motivation? And know what's the motivation, because that's the key thing to get a price reduction. And also, even if you have it under contract, when you know the motivation and you know how much they need to sell, you can even renegotiate and get better pricing. Right? So that's a reverse wholesaling, and not a lot of people talking about it. But once you have a property on the contract and you sell this thing, you can come back to the seller and renegotiate the price because stuff doesn't, they don't work as it should, or there are more things that you need to fix. So your buyer did an inspection, and there are more things you can renegotiate. And once you have it on the contract, the seller will be more open to renegotiate the price, because in their mind, they already sold the property, right? They already done they want out, they want the money, they just want to be out. So if you come back with a different price, most times they'll renegotiate with you, unless you have people that are trying to going behind your back and get your deal. That can really damage renegotiation tactics. Because if somebody else is seeing your deals out there and going to the sellers, knocking on the door saying, I'm going to buy it, these guys are just trying to flip, I can pay you more, that can hurt you. So that's another thing that you have to, when you vet buyers, when you vet the cash buyers, you've got to make sure that nobody's going to go behind your back and try to steal your deals. Because I had that a couple of times, and it's not fun. Even it's not fun to talk to the seller and tell them these guys they're not saying the truth, or they're just trying to steal the deal from us. And it's good to have open communication with the seller and be friends with them, and tell them if anybody's talking to you about the property or trying to offer you a price, let me know and I'll talk to them.
Right, and you always say that the digging for pain is like the most important, one of the most important things. But then it also seems to be for a lot of people, including myself, the hardest part to do. How do you dig for pain effectively?
So if they tell you that they need the money until January 1st or January 31st, you've got to ask them what's going on January 31st. And they're going to tell you, well, I have a bill to pay. Okay, how much is the bill? So every answer they're going to give you, you're going to dig into that answer. And sometimes it's annoying, but it's going to give you so much information. And people, when they start to talk, they don't stop. So they're going to talk and talk and talk. And you're going to take all those notes and then use it to negotiate the price with them.
Right.
If they have a bill, if they need to sell, if they need to move, all those pain points. So if the roof is leaking and they know that the rain is going to come and it's going to damage the house even more, stuff like that, you're going to use it when you're in your negotiation.
So they will choose you over another investor that doesn't do that?
They will choose you because you're listening to them. And a lot of times the seller is going to say, wow, you're really listening to me. You really understand what I'm going through. And it's great. And thank you so much for helping me. Even if someone else is going to offer them more, but they're not really a person that want to do business with them. Wow. So they're not going to do it with them, but they're going to do it with you because they like you and they trust you. Right? Those are the things that people do business with. They like you, they trust you, they believe in you. They want to give you the deal so that you'll make money. Yeah.
So you have to make them want you to make money.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes you tell them, listen, this is my business, this is my livelihood, this is how I bring food for my kids. this is what I do, and I do it full time. And yeah, and they'll want to help you. And so not everybody is looking to like make as much money. I'm talking about sellers, homeowners. Sometimes they really relate to you. And if you talk to them, you have good communication with the seller. I mean, you can do multiple deals with them.
All right.
The next thing that is the last thing that I have for you actually for those 5 things is having a good contract. So the contract is very important thing. A lot of times we send contracts to sellers and they read it and they have a question, but they're not going to ask you. They're just not going to sign it, and they're even not going to call you back.
I think that's been the number one deal killer so far, the contracts, right?
Yes, the number one thing is having a good contract and making sure your seller understand. Because a lot of times they don't understand and they're not going to answer their phone. They're not going to do the deal with you. A lot of times I call the seller later after I send them the contract and they say, well, I have this and this is a problem. I'm not going to sign it. I'm like, what? There's nothing. Let me fix it for you. So a good strategy is to send them the contract and make sure they're on the computer with you, or even Zoom or on the phone, and going over one by one and making sure they understand everything. And if they can do it, if they can't open it with you on the phone, then just call them later after they see it and just make sure they understand everything and they agree with everything. And if they have a partner or a spouse, someone else that needs to see it or go over it or approve it, get on them, get with them on the phone also.
What do you do if you can't get them on the phone and they refuse to do it?
That's a problem. I would just try to get them on the phone as much as possible, because if they don't want to be with you on the phone, there's a big possibility they're not going to sign the contract. But sometimes the husband is going to talk for the wife, which is fine, or the wife is going to talk to the husband and they don't want to speak with you. That's fine, but it's good to talk to everybody and get everybody on the phone. Unless there are 20 heirs, it's a probate, and there are 20 heirs, you don't need to speak with everybody. You can just speak with the PR. And what is a PR? What is a probate? Probate is somebody died and now the property is going through the heirs, right? So they need to go through a probate in the court. By the way, this is a great lead strategy, going after probate. People that died, now the property went to the heirs, right? So now you need to talk to the PR, the personal representative, or the property representative, or the representative of the family. You don't need to speak to 20 people. Just speak to one person. Make sure they understand, make sure they agree to the price, and they are going to go and talk to the other family members and have them approve it, and then you can have a deal. I've done multiple deals with PRs, and sometimes the attorney is a PR, and sometimes like the neighbor is a PR. But if you get them to approve, you have a deal, basically. So, yeah. What other questions you had for me, Mike?
How would you go about finding those probates?
That's a good question. So you can go to the court. You can go to the court website and look for probates, county records, or you can go to a list source and look for probates. And they can give you the attorney information, the PR information, the deceased information, all those things that's going to help you close a deal. I mean, talk to the people and close a deal.
Right. Do you think that the probates do they need to be filtered out just like a normal seller that's not in probate, or should you just go and call the probates because they have pain?
Yes, I would call them right away. The probate are the number one most sellable property I see on the market, like off market, on the market. I look at properties every day. I look at the list. I look at whatever is available, whatever is not available, off market, on market, and I see that probates are the ones that usually sell the most.
Right. I remember one really important thing you said to me, which was you don't have to wait until the probate is over to get the property under contract.
Right. That's a secret. Don't tell them. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so a lot of the heirs are going to tell you, well, the property is on probate. We can't put it on the contract until it's done. We have to wait for the court. Wrong. That wrong. You can put it on the contract while it's in probate. You're just going to put it contingent for the court approval. That's it. That's the only thing that you need to have in your contract. Contingent for the county court approval. That's it. And you can sign a contract and you can find a buyer. You can find a buyer to flip the property, and then you just wait for the court approval. Once you have court approval, you can put it also on the contract. That's another secret. That once court approved, you have 10 days to close the property, 5 days, or you can even put another inspection period. After court approval, I have 5 more days to do inspection. And because sometimes these probate, I had one probate, took me 2 years to close.
Wow.
And since we put it on the contract and we actually closed on the property, 2 years went by and nobody lived in the property. So I have to recheck it. I have to make sure that everything is the same. And we actually renegotiate the price after the court approved. And then we have to go back to the court. But there's another strategy to do that. Yeah.
And I'm assuming you should only go through that process if the deal is good enough.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you have a probate on the contract, find a buyer right away and you make sure you have a good deal. And then you're going to send the contract to the court to be approved.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so that's a really good strategy for you to get a property in the next 30 days and sell it.
Wow.
Look for all the probates in your area or all the owners that actually died in the last 90 days.
Right. So don't even ask them for permission to call them. Just call them, basically.
Unless they're in a do not call list, and so you can't
Right.
call them basically. But I would look for all the probates in the area and call them. Yeah.
Well, how do you know if a property's on do not or phone number's on do not call?
You have to go online and check. You have to go online and check the property records to check who's the owner or who's the PR and make sure they're not on that list.
Oh,
And there are services online that's going to do it for you. Let's say you download the 100 or 200 or 1,000 records. You can filter that list through a do not call program that's going to tell you who you can call, who you can't.
Right.
So yeah, what other questions do we have? Or if somebody from in the crowd has a question, post it in the comments.
Somebody said thank you for this amazing coaching.
Of course. So yeah, I mean, what did you see this week? You said you talked to a lot of sellers. So what did you see that's going on today?
In terms of the lists that I tried,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of different things. So you'll notice that some lists that you do will get like 2 responses on your text messages, and some will get like 40. And you really just need to go and text. But the one thing that I noticed is that the properties that are most likely to be interested, the sellers that are most likely to be interested, are the ones that had an interest in some point at selling their property. On selling their property. If they didn't, then it's a gamble on whether they'll be interested or not. But we get the most responses from people that were at some point, whether it's 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, some point they were interested in selling their property.
Right. Yeah. So if they were interested and they couldn't sell it, meaning like expired listing or things like that, they tried to sell it, they couldn't sell it, they're probably going to be open to sell it.
Exactly.
And if they have pain, if they have a tenant that's not paying, if they evicted the tenant, or the property is just not making enough money, they'll want to sell it.
Right. And if you can find a way to find those people, it might be difficult. It'll be worth your time for sure.
Yeah. So if it's harder to find, meaning there's less people talking to these owners, meaning you can make a deal work. Because if it's very easy, everybody's talking about pre-foreclosures, tax deeds, government lists that you get for free from the government or whatever, the city. Everybody's going after those lists. Everybody's talking to those sellers. So what do you think? Is it going to be easy or hard?
Right. I've tried to text the pre-foreclosures. I've tried to call pre-foreclosures. None of them want to talk to anybody. You know, like a lot of them don't want to talk to anybody because they get so many calls.
They get so many calls. So the easiest to find the property, the easiest to find the owner, is going to be the hardest to close. So if it's so hard to find the owner, if it's so hard to get in touch with the owner, it's going to be much easier to close because
Wow.
nobody can find them.
That's a big thing, I think.
Nobody can find them.
Wow.
Nobody can actually talk to them. So if you are able to talk to the owner, if you are able to reach them, you'll be able to make a deal.
Right. So you might be, wow, it's so easy to get in contact with this person, but then it's so hard to close the deal.
Exactly.
And then if you find somebody else and, that's not even on the market or wasn't even planning on selling their property until you texted them, that's pretty good.
Exactly. So yeah, this recording, this is going to be on the list on the group. So somebody's asking for the recording. This is going to be on the group, so you can watch it anytime. But yeah, just make sure if you're going for those easy to find lists, you're going to have a lot of competition. A lot of competition, meaning if you're offering 100, somebody else is going to offer 120 or 130. Even if it's not a deal, you just want to get the success to get the property under contract.
And the ways to find those lists are not straightforward at all. You need to be creative.
Yes, those are the harder to find.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys have questions about lists, if talking to sellers, using the script or whatever you have questions, just DM me after the recording or ask me questions on Facebook. I'm always open to answer and help people to close. Me and Mike here. And also, if you're looking for ways to get more motivated sellers, if you're looking for ways to talk to people that are looking to sell, reach out to us, because we found a great way to reach out to those sellers. Nobody's using that actually. So we found a way to book appointment with those people and get them to make deals with us. So if you're looking for an easier way, reach out to us and we can help you to get to those sellers in any place in the US. So
right, exactly. It's amazing. We could get sellers literally at any zip code or any location.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. But if you guys have any more questions, you can post it in the comments later, and we can answer. Yes, we do JVs. Always, a lot of the properties that we have, we posted on the MLS, so they're on the market because it's easier to find buyers like that. But also, I do JVs all the time, and we help people sell their properties as well. But if you have more questions, just post it in the comments. I'll answer after the live. And I'll see you guys next time, next Thursday. Every Thursday is 1 p.m. We're here to answer questions. And I'll see you guys next time. Mike, let's get some properties under contracts for next week.